Hello, so we're going to go through a Cloud NAS proof of concept and free trial. Um, what we'll do first of all, I've actually screenshotted this and put it into a Word document. I was going to create an actual document with this, so that's why I'm doing it this way, not actually live on the website. But to get yourself a Cloud NAS free trial, you just go to wasabi.com. Click on products, click on cloud object storage, and then the fourth item down here is the Wasabi Cloud NAS. So once you click on that, it's going to take you to a sign up page where you've got a try Wasabi free button. Make sure you're on the right sign up page, not the general S3 one. You'll know that you're on the right sign up page because you'll actually see it will say start a 30-day trial or buy now, and then in the note it will actually say Cloud NAS, and then over here again it will also say Cloud NAS as well. I'm just pointing that out because the free trial for the normal S3 storage is a very similar kind of form as well. So just make sure you're on the Cloud NAS one. Go ahead and pop in your name, your company, your work email address. Obviously I've just used a Gmail one here for testing, but pop in your work email address, what country you're in, your phone number, and then what kind of storage amount you're thinking about anyway. If you don't really know, I generally go with less than 25 terabytes, which is the lowest option available. Once you're there, just tick the boxes to receive some communication and hit the get started button. That will then go ahead and send you an email to the email address that you entered in the email box, where you can go ahead and click the create account button. Once you go ahead and click that button, it's going to take you to another page where it's already filled in with the email address that you used, and you can go ahead and just create a password and click sign in. So once you've done that, very simple step, it will just pop up a box saying, offering you some option of buying it, obviously, and kind of channel partners and things. But you can just go ahead and click the blue continue your trial box, and then that's going to take you to the Cloud NAS download page. So two important bits here are the download the Cloud NAS software button and the Cloud NAS admin guide. So you click on this one, obviously it's going to download the latest version of Cloud NAS for you to your whatever machine you're on. And then this one will take you to our documents page within Wasabi, where you can see all the documentation around Cloud NAS. So that's the simple steps to just go through and get yourself set up with a trial account. So go onto the web page, put in your details, click go on the email that you'll receive, and then just download the software and the admin guide. So I'm going to assume that I downloaded the software. Here it is, just set on my desktop. So I've got the latest version 2.3.0.17. And I'm going to go ahead and run this file. So it'll just come to the prerequisite setup wizard. I'll just go through next. Anything that's missing or not here, it'll tell me about. So I've got a couple of things that I need to get installed. So it'll go ahead and just quickly whip through those for me. Yeah, we'll happily do that. So it's going to load .NET quickly. So there we go, .NET's finished installing, so we'll go ahead and click the finish button there. Restart, yes, that's okay. It's a virtual machine, so hopefully won't take very long at all. So we'll give it a few seconds and then see if she is up and ready to go. So the machine rebooted. As soon as I logged back in, it went straight into the setup again. It's just trying to load Server Manager as well, just because it wants to. So, do I agree to the software? Yep, absolutely. We'll just get rid of Server Manager because we didn't really ask for that to pop up. Go away. So, yep, I'm happy with the location and I'm happy with the license agreement. So, next. Yep, I need some features installed, so go ahead and next. and then it will just run through the rest of the install. Take a few more seconds. While it's doing that, I'll move this icon, something exciting for you to watch. So it may have jumped about a bit then. Sorry, I was trying to stop the recording while it was on boring bits. So we've gone ahead and it's completed the install, and we can go ahead and click finish. So this should now. So once you've finished, you'll have a Wasabi Cloud NAS login box pop up. So what we're going to put in here is the email address that we used. Let me just remind myself of the one that I used. It was the Gmail one. There we go. So it was that email address, and I used that password, I believe. So I'll submit that. Yep, there we go. So that's happy. So it's going to initially create a just a random bucket. It's got to do this just for the initial config. I'm going to change the region to London, which is my local region, and it's just going to pick a random source folder. It's just gone for one in the documents folder, Wasabi Cloud something or other. We will Cloud NAS. That's fine. We'll ignore those because it's we're gonna delete these in a second anyway. So I'll go ahead and hit configure. So that will now talk to the service, the S3 service. It will create this random bucket, and it will give us a configuration summary and say we're good to go. So it's created these random settings. What we're going to do, first of all, is just pause Cloud NAS just to stop it running. There we go. So I've paused it. And then I'm going to go ahead and this first policy, there was first sync that is set up, first source. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because this was just one it creates out the box ad hoc. So there we go. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go ahead and delete the reclaim space policy that it puts on default. I'll keep the replication policy. I will set it for 10 minutes just for now. And there we go. So that's good to go. Now, what I do need to do, I do need to jump into the Wasabi console. So I'm just going to go here. You can see it's console.wasabisys.com. I will put in the same credentials that I just used. Just to log into Wasabi, because obviously because it created that bucket, I just need to go ahead and delete that bucket out of here, which I'm going to go and do now. Delete. It'll ask you to put the bucket name. Obviously it's a long random string of rubbish, so we'll cut and paste that in here and delete the bucket. There we go. So we've got a nice clean Wasabi console now. We've got no buckets created. Everything's happy. And we've got a nice clean Cloud NAS installation that nothing's happening. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to want to go through my test plan. Cool. So now we're going to protect our first share. I've got a share just in my C drive here called shares. There's one called, which one did I use? IT department. There we go. So I've just put some documents in there, just some Word documents and some Excel files and PDF files, things like that. Just some simple documents. So I've got my share ready to go. So what I need then is some details from Wasabi. So I'm going to go back to the portal. And I'm going to click on the Access Keys tab here. And I'll see that there's already a set of keys that were created by default. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete these because we don't have the second key. It didn't tell us. So we're going to go ahead and delete that set of keys. So now we've got no access keys at all. So I'm going to hit Create Access Key. And then I'm going to use root user for this. This is only a proof of concept. So I'm just going to use root user. And then it's going to show me two sets of keys here, an access key and a secret key. Now I need them both. So what I'm going to do is copy these keys out to the clipboard. And then just off screen on my other side, I've got a little notepad where I'm going to put these keys in to keep them safe. So once I've done that, I can click this cross. Be careful. We always show you the access key. You'll see behind. Once you've seen the secret key, we will never show you that key again. So you do need to make sure that you take a copy of this key. Obviously, if this is your live root account, when you go forwards, this key needs to be hidden, put in a safe, stored somewhere secret. As you see, it'll only show you the access key. There's no way of seeing the secret key again. But now I've got my keys. I can go back to NAS, and I'm going to go and click on the top here where we've got Wasabi Cloud NAS mentioned, and it says pause currently because it is. And I'm going to add in a source. So this will let me pick my source share. So remember, it was C drive shares IT department. So it's added my share in. Now I need to pair this share with a bucket in Wasabi. So I've got my source path. Give it a target name. So I'm going to just call this IT department. Doesn't really matter. It's just a name. It's just for to make it easy to see. Now it's asking me for the service URL. Well, currently this one here, US West 1, is in Oregon in the States. Well, as some of you may know, I live in England, so that's no good to me really. I don't want to copy my data up there. It'll be a bit slow. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the drop down here and find my one for London. There we go, EU West 1. That will automatically change the service URL to EU West 1, which is the London region. Now, that secret key and access key that we just created, this is where we need them. So I'm going to go ahead and get my access key, drop that in there, and then grab my secret key and drop that in there. And then if I hit list buckets, well, I haven't made any buckets yet. We know that for the console. If I go back to the buckets tab, there's no buckets in here. Nothing's been created. So I'm going to go ahead and create a bucket. Now, buckets globally have to have a unique name. So I'm going to call this NS. I always do with my buckets. Neil Simpkins, it's my name. NS IT, DEPARTMENT. NS IT department. So that's gone ahead and it's created that bucket for me. Let's see if it's done it in the console yet. Let's just do a little refresh there. Yep, there we go. So I've got my bucket now in the console. So happy that that's been created. And I've paired it with my source share. So I'm ready to hit the apply button. So I'll hit apply. And it'll tell me that NAS is staying in pause mode for now in case I want to add in any more options on this share. So do I want to do anything else? No, quite happily paired. I got my replication policy is 10 minutes. I'm just going to drop that down to 1 minute for now. Just so things happen a little bit quicker. So everything's happy. I can go on to my Cloud NAS at the top here icon and I can resume. So this button down here in the middle, resume, that will unpause Cloud NAS. Now if I click on the share that I wanted to protect and click on statistics, it would tell me what's happened. So one file got excluded, and there are reasons why files may be excluded. Maybe it's the rubbish recycle bin, maybe it's just a file that's locked, maybe it's a file that's got the archive attribute set wrong, something like that. There is a document on our knowledge base that explains why files are sometimes excluded. But there we go, I got 28 files. I'm just going to have a little check, see how many files were actually in there. So there are 28 files, so it's actually something that is hidden in the background. So I'm guessing something like a recycle bin or a system file. So all the files were protected according to this. So 28 files replicated. So I'm happy with that. And again, if I look in that share, you'll notice that a little cloud icon has appeared with a green tick. So that tells me that those files have been protected. So there's definitely a copy locally and there's definitely a copy with Wasabi. And to double check that, I can go onto the onto the console, and I can look inside the folder, inside the bucket, and I can see all my files are there. So I know I'm quite happy. Cloud NAS is working. It's synchronized all of that data. So what I'm going to do now, obviously these were documents that were already in the share. So what I'm going to do now is add some new documents in, or copy some documents into here, just so that we can see that new documents are also getting protected. So I'm going to go back to this share here, where I've got just some text files. These will be easy as well when I recall a file, because obviously I don't have Acrobat Reader or Office installed on this server, so these are just showing up as really, you know, the machine won't know how to open them. So I'm going to put some files on, just some text files. So I'm just going to copy and copy them into here. So we can see there are 4 text files. So if I shut this down now, what we should see happen is when the replication policy runs, which we've got set to 1 minute, we should see that these files will get protected and they'll be happily with a copy up with Wasabi. So let's just have a look at our stats again. It should say that we've got 5 pending files, which it does. And we can see that, yeah, there's no green cloud icon appeared yet. So they haven't gone through the protection cycle. So once this replication policy runs, which shouldn't be very long away, we'll see that these files will get protected. Perhaps I should have set the replication policies to 20 seconds or 10 seconds, which would have made it a bit quicker. There we go. So we can see that these text documents here have now all been protected. They've got a green tick next to them. We can go back to the stats and see that, yep, we've got 33 files that have been replicated. And we can go back to Wasabi, just have a little refresh here. And we'll see, there we go. So the last files that got uploaded are my text files. So happy, yep, everything's been protected. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and put a reclaim policy on. So we can see the last access record. If you want to, you can just right click the title bar up here, and then you can go down and find date accessed. And that'll tell you the last access record of these files. So obviously for these text ones, because they were copied, their last access record is just a couple of minutes ago. So what we're going to do is go back onto the share. This little icon, sorry, this little exclamation mark just tells me that the whole system hasn't been refreshed. So I don't know why it does that. I will actually ask our product manager why. But I have found if you refresh everything, then that little exclamation mark disappears. So interesting thing there. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is go onto this the share that we protected, and I'm going to add a policy. So that's just this little button down here. And I'm going to, I don't want a replication policy, I've already got one of those. So now I'm going to reclaim, add in a reclaim space policy. So click reclaim space, click OK. So how old do I want the file to be before I reclaim it? Well, if I set 4 weeks, this is going to be a very dull video, because we'll have to wait 4 weeks before these files get protected. So we're not going to do that. We're going to drop it down to seconds. In fact, they should be inside a minute. So I'm going to change it to 1 minute. No, I'm not. I've changed my mind again. That's the kind of guy I am. 30 seconds. So I'm going to go for 30 seconds. Do I need any of the other attributes? If they're larger than a certain size, no. Or when space on the share exceeds a certain size, no. So I'm going to ignore the other options. I'm just going to go for offload the file if it hasn't been accessed for more than 30 seconds. I'm going to apply that. Okay, that's still running. What we should see very quickly, wow, very, very quickly, there you go, it's already done it. So it's already stubbed off all of these files because they're all older than the last access record. So we can see they've been stubbed off because the cloud icon has gone into a white cloud, a clear cloud. And actually, if we look at the properties of a file, we can see that although it's 71K in size on disk is 0. It's not actually there anymore. It's only with Wasabi, and we can check Wasabi again. And we can see, yep, the files are still there, full fat, quite happily living up with Wasabi. So that's the second, that's one of the other tests that we should be doing on our proof of concept plan. So far we've protected a share. We've made sure that the documents are up there. We've added some new files into the share to make sure that they got protected. And we've set a reclaim policy on the share to make sure that we can space save the documents that should have been space saved. What we're going to do now, I'm just going to double click this file. So this is the next item on the proof of concept plan to prove that the file does come back when we, it's not a local file. I want to read it. I'm a user. I want to read this file. So I'm going to go ahead and double click it and make sure it comes back. So double click rat. There we go. It's just a file full of gibberish and some other stuff. So I can see that this file has been retrieved. I can scroll all the way down to the end and back up. It's not, I know it's only a very small file, but I'm not waiting for it to be retrieved. It's there in its entirety, so quite happy with that. And I can go ahead and look at this file. It may not have retrieved it fully because it's only a very small file. I can test that by right-clicking it, going to Wasabi Cloud NAS and retrieving the data. So that will then retrieve the file. We know it's retrieved because it's got a green tick on it, and the cloud's gone green with a white tick. And again, if I look at the properties of the file, it's been brought back in its entirety, full fat. I think when you open a file, it does wait a little bit of time before it actually marks the file as being open and showing as it being a full fat local file. So this file here that we just opened, rat, we know that our reclaim policy is set for 30 seconds. So what should happen? Obviously, I just recalled rat, so that resets its access time. But once that goes over the 30-second time period, there we go, it's happened. Rat got reclaimed again because it's, I haven't accessed the file in more than 30 seconds. And again, if I go to the properties, we can see that it's 0 size on disk. So we know it's a space reclaimed file. So one of the other things you might want to test is the logging. So if you go into the global settings, you can see we do save event viewer logs. So I'm going to go ahead and just enable all of these because I want to. It does say the service will be restarted. It's very quick to restart the service. So there we go. So I've enabled all the logs now. So what's going to happen? Let me just create a new text document in here. I'm just going to call it Neil, and I'll just write some absolute rubbish in there. Let's just add a bit more than that. There we go, and I'm going to save that file. So I've created a new file, and that's now been replicated and space reclaimed. I'm also going to recall rat, so I'll retrieve the data on rat. There we go. Perhaps open donkeys as well to see what happens there. Have a look down donkeys. So I can now go to my event viewer, and I will see under the applications tab there is a Wasabi Cloud NAS, and I can get information on everything that's gone on. So we can see that so that new file neil.txt was successfully replicated, and then we can see that donkeys has been replaced with a stub file on the source, and then we can see that text was replaced again, replicated, sorry, and then the rat document or rat text file was also received because we recalled that as well. So you can enable the logging just to see that you're getting the event viewer logs to show you exactly when files were retrieved, when they were stubbed off, and just to have a log of what's happening with all your files. So another thing to test is what happens to a replica when the source file is moved, and we've got two options here. You'll see we've got this tick box that says delete replica when the source file is removed. Obviously, if this is ticked, then the replica file within Wasabi will get deleted. If this is unticked, then the replica file will not get deleted. So we're going to go and do that. So let's pick one of our files. I'm going to stick with rat. for now. So we can see we've got rat locally here. It is only a stubbed off file, but it's still showing as local. And if I look within the console, which is over here, I just need to drag it back in. If we look in the console, we can see we've got our rat file here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete rat. Now, what's going to happen, interestingly, is if you keep watching this, rat will not disappear at the moment, because technically rat is still in the rubbish bin, the recycle bin on the source. So even after the replication runs, rat will still show up here because it's still in the rubbish bin. So replication is run. I actually dropped replication down to 10 seconds, so I know it's run, and you know I can still see rat showing up in the console. So what I'm going to do now is just empty the recycle bin. Now when the replication occurs again, we should see that rat goes ahead and disappears. So it's a 10-second replication, so I'll waffle for a couple more seconds, refresh the screen, and now we'll see that rat has disappeared. So that's exactly what we wanted to happen. We've got a policy set to say when a replica on the source is removed, we also want to delete the so when the source is removed, we also want to delete the replica. Obviously, if I untick that and went and deleted rat, even after emptying the recycle bin, rat will remain. And again, that's something I'll put that in the proof of concept document. You want to test. You might want to test both scenarios. So what happens, if you have this ticked, and also if you have this unticked. Another thing you may want to test as part of the proof of concept is versioning. So this is available in the bucket settings. So if you click on the bucket settings, you'll see there is a bucket versioning tab. So you can enable bucket versionings. You'll need to hit the apply button. So what this will do, let's take our Neil document that we created just a few seconds ago. I'm going to open that, and I'm going to go ahead and just change some things in here. Just drop these down a little bit. Just there we go. And then I'm going to version 1. There we go. So I've changed the file around. I'm going to go ahead and save it and close this file down. I'm going to wait for the 10-second replication policy to happen, which shouldn't take long. So in fact, we can check whether that's happened. See here, okay, we've got no pending files when we look in the statistics. So I'm going to go ahead and so there we go. Sorry, Neil has changed to a green tick at the moment, so it's local file. So we'll wait for the replication to run again when it will reclaim the file. We'll just check the properties to see what's going on. Okay, that should have reclaimed by now. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up again. And then I'm going to go and put in version 2. If I could spell would help. I might even just write some more gibberish just underneath, just so it's got a bit of meat in the file. And go ahead and save that file again. So we'll just wait a few seconds for that to reclaim. There we go. Now, what I can do with this file now is I can right-click the file, and I can go to the properties of the file. And if I go to versions, I now see I've got 3 versions of this file. I opened it as the original file, and then I opened it again, and I saved it down with some new text in there, and I opened it and I saved it down again with some new text in there. So this is where I currently am in the process. You can see a nice green tick here. But I know that if I made a mistake and I wanted to roll back to any of the other versions, as a user, this doesn't need to be done by admin. Obviously, the user can just log into their share. They can right-click on the file, and they can go ahead and restore any of those versions. So I went there and restored the first version. So that should mean that if I open this file now, we should see that all that other rubbish that I originally put on has disappeared, and we're back to the original file. So this is a way you can enable versioning for your users on the bucket settings, and then, as I said, if they make a mistake on a file, they can go to the versions tab and they can go back or forward to any of the versions that they want to. So there's another thing in the proof of concept plan that you might want to test if you're interested in versioning. Another thing you might want to test is what would happen in a DR event. So you've lost your complete source share and you want to retrieve the files back onto a new Cloud NAS share. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to simulate, or kind of simulate, a destruction of this share. I'm not actually going to delete the share because I don't want the sources, the replicas removed. All I'm going to do is just destroy the policy. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go and delete the source and then go yes. It just told me that all the stub files will become unusable. Obviously the stub files are still there, they're still stub files, but because I've taken them out of Cloud NAS, they're not usable anymore. So I've created another folder called IT Department DR. So what I'm going to go and do is add that in as a source. And it's an empty folder, so Cloud NAS should see it as an empty folder and understand that I'm trying to do a DR. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to call this one NS, I don't know, IT DR, something like that. I'll point it at London. Now I'm going to pick up my secret key and access key, which just make sure I've got the right ones. I don't. Why did I delete those? Let me, that's interesting. Okay. Let's stop that for a second. So interestingly, I have deleted my my keys off of my little notepad next to me. Always good when you're doing a demo. So I'm going to go ahead. It's always good to things go wrong. You can see how to fix them. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new set of secret access keys. It's irrelevant. They're just another set of keys. So I will drop those into my notepad. And I can go back now to NAS and pick those keys up. There we go. There's the first one. And the second one. So we've got so I've done that. I've put the secret key and access key in. I've hit list my buckets and I can see my bucket available. So I'm going to go ahead and click that bucket and hit apply. Now, because it's seen that the source share has nothing in it, it's asking me some information. What do I want to do? Do I want to download everything? Do I want to import on demand? So that's going to download all the metadata, or do I want to do this one? So I want to import all the metadata. I'm just going to go, you can read these yourselves. I'm just going to go for the import on demand one, which should build my file structure, should build my stub files, but not actually import any of the data unless I click on the files. So I'm going to go ahead and do the import on demand. So what that should do now, oops, I just missed that box. So it says it's successful. So if I go back to the share, I can pick my new IT department and I can see what it's done is it's recreated that file structure and recreated the files, the stub files in here. And if I go ahead and open those now, we can see they fully linked back up to the cloud copies of those files. So I can go ahead and users can start accessing those files pretty much straight away. So it's a really cool feature that you can rebuild your file structure in the event of a disaster with just the stub files if you want to, and then as users start accessing those files, they can then get access. They can then just open the files and get access to the content that they require. So we're going to stop our POC video here. Obviously we've taken you through quite a few items. Let me just pull those up quickly if I can find them. So yeah, in our test plan, we went through creating the NAS trial account, installing Cloud NAS, creating the default shares and buckets, locating a test folder, deleting the default shares and buckets, locating a test folder to use, setting the secret key and access key, creating a Wasabi bucket in the correct region. I just need to expand that one out. This doesn't seem to be yet. Select a source share, and pair it with a Wasabi bucket. View the data stats, so view the statistics tab to see what's going on. Add some new files in to make sure that they got protected. Set a reclaim policy. Recall some of those claim files so we can see those files going backwards and forwards. Enable logging so we can check what events are being viewed in the logs. Test a deletion of a local file with the delete replica box ticked. Do exactly the same thing with the box unticked to make sure that what you expect to happen is happening. Test the file versioning, so enable file versioning on a share and make sure that you get previous versions when you right click on a file. And then lastly, just test the DR functionality to make sure if you lost your whole of your source share that you could recall those files back to another share. I am going to enhance this video another day with some more items that you can do with Cloud NAS, but for now I think this is a good basic proof of concept plan. So thanks for watching this, and I hope your proof of concept goes well. And if you need any assistance, remember you can always reach out to me at Neale, Neale, @wasabi.com. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.